And with us right now is Ken Post of Hearing Remedy. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, always nice to have you on. And today we're going to talk about, one of the topics we're going to talk about is you do a luncheon. It's called Lunch and Listen, and there's one coming up soon, am I right?
Yes, we have one coming up Wednesday, a week from today. And we like to help people really get a sense, people that wear hearing aids, you know, the technology's changed so much the last 3, 4, 5 years that they've improved so much, especially when they're in like noisier environments. So we like to let people get an idea what that's like. What's the new technology like without having to put out a lot of money for a hearing aid. They can actually compare that to what they're using and say, oh, that really is a huge improvement. I think I want to maybe head that direction, or no, it's not that much. So they actually get a real sense of what it'd be like to go to that next level of technology. So we treat them to a lunch. We fit them with the new hearing aids before, and they get to actually hear in a noisier restaurant.
Oh, I see.
It's a real live situation. It's a restaurant where it'd be more challenging to hear if you don't have as good a hearing aids. And they can actually hear for themselves how much technology's changed and how better it is.
So this is going to happen next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And how long does it go for? Do they get there like about an hour ahead of time, and then you take them to lunch?
They're typically getting there an hour or so ahead of time. We'll set up the hearing aids, adjust them for them, and then walk basically across the parking lot to Coco's.
Okay. Now, if people have fairly newer hearing aids, you can also help adjust them as well. Maybe they need a little tweaking.
Correct. We handle a lot of different brands, and we do adjust them because people's hearing changes over time, and we can give them a little adjustment and see where they're at and get them tuned up so they're working great.
And one of the things is, as you mentioned, the biggest thing, I think, the way hearing aids have changed over the years is they are much more capable of filtering out ambient noise to help you focus in on, if you're in a restaurant, the folks that you're sitting around the table with, right?
Correct, especially like a restaurant, because it's not just like an ambient noise, it's voices all around you.
Yeah.
And you want to hear that voice, not the loud person behind you in the booth behind you. So the technology's really come a long ways to actually literally focus in front of you and tune the voices out around you.
Right. And another way it's come a long way is the fact that with many of the hearing aids, they can be adjusted with your smartphone, right?
Correct. In fact, some of the latest ones, when your phone rings, you just push the button and it goes right to your hearing aids, and you just talk.
Yeah,
and
that's
you get
nice.
a really crisp, clear communications right into your ears. And it really makes talking on the phone a lot nicer.
That's really nice. What are some of the complaints? Like, people who maybe have hearing aids, maybe they're fairly new, maybe they're several years old. What are some of the common complaints that people have with them? Is it they're not fitted right? They're not picking up the sounds they want?
Probably the biggest complaint would be they're going certain places and they just can't hear very well. And that could be that they may need just a little more gain. They may need a little adjustment. It might be the hearing aid's not working very well in that situation. They need a better hearing aid. So we like to kind of see what they have and perhaps do an adjustment and let them try it out again in that area, and then see whether we need to do more to make it work better in that environment. But that's people at restaurants or maybe dining halls, meeting rooms. There's a lot of different situations that can be hard to hear, and that's probably the biggest complaint, is that I went here, I just couldn't make out the words very well because it was too loud. And the technology's really improved to make that work much better.
Yeah, it's amazing. Now, over the years, probably like with you and I anyway, about people maybe abusing their ears, so to speak, going to concerts at home, big stereo speakers this tall and all that. Nowadays, of course, people, especially younger kids, but older as well, using the earbuds. And how do they affect hearing loss? Now, in many cases, I know some of the newer earbuds, especially the most latest ones that were brought out by Apple, they can actually have it be a limiter on them, so to speak, especially for kids, which is great. But again, you're putting these little speakers that, these tiny little speakers in your ears are equivalent to, as far as the dynamic range of speakers that were 3 feet tall years ago, right?
Yeah, well, and they're closer. As you get twice as close, the sound is 4 times louder.
Right.
So when you're getting this close, instead of 5 feet from the speaker, you're half an inch from your eardrum up there. You don't need much to really affect your hearing up there. And the thing with doing that is it's not immediate. So you might, actually, if the sound's loud enough, it can be immediate. Typically, we don't have that kind of loud sound, but it's just over time, as people get into their 50s and 60s and 70s, all that catches up with them.
Right.
They've done a little bit of damage, a little bit of damage, a little bit of damage, and then by the time you get to maybe 60 or 70, it's like there's certain frequencies you can't hear anymore. The high frequencies are the closest ones to your eardrums, and those are the ones that get damaged the most from the noise. And so the next thing you know, you can't hear the doorbell. You can't hear the turn signal in your car. They're all high frequencies. Certain letters, the T's, the S's, the F's, have high frequencies in them. So you know that someone said a word,
right,
but you didn't hear that T or that S part of it. So you don't know what the word was. And what it really
that's true.
What it literally sounds like to people is that someone's mumbling. That they're not talking clearly. Well, it's not that they're not talking clearly. Your ears aren't hearing all of the consonants, and it sounds like it's not clear. And hearing aids just fix that boom. They're going to boost where you're not hearing well, and they're going to leave the other part alone so that you get nice hearing where closer to where you were when you were 20 years old. It makes up for these losses that have gradually happened.
Yeah, well, some of these losses are just due to aging, correct? The high frequencies, am I right? As you get older?
That could be more genetic. Genetic, because some people make it to their 80s, 90s, no hearing aids at all. They hear fine. And you can test them and go, wow, you've got great hearing.
Yeah.
And then some people, they're in their 40s and they're like, especially getting in their 50s, and I just fit someone last week. It's like, well, yeah, we went to too many. we went to too many concerts when we were younger. And they need them. And the great thing is that the solutions are much more discreet as far as they're small. They're comfortable now, and they work so well. It used to be people with hearing aids, I'm not going to that restaurant. There's no way.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And now you can consider.
And in general, restaurants are much louder nowadays than what they used to be. They're actually designed for that.
Yeah.
You don't have I don't know. There's maybe a few that are left. That are quiet and a little bit of soft music playing, but those are few and far between nowadays.
Most of them. And some of them, it's just the way they make the restaurants, the ceiling, the harsh surfaces. It's all echoing, and then you get the whole crowd in there.
Right.
Now you got voices that are just humming all around you. It's just hard to hear over the voices that are around you.
Yeah, definitely. Well, your next lunch again is next Wednesday.
Yeah.
I imagine it's limited.
It's limited, so you need to call in and make an appointment, and we can get you set up ahead of time so that when you're at the restaurant, you're wearing them, you're ready to roll and actually see how well they work in a noisy restaurant.
All right, very good. So website is easy, hearingremedy.com. You can get all the information there.
Okay.
Ken, always good to see you.
Good to see you.
Appreciate you coming by, and we'll see you again. We'll be right back.